This is the Corellian tanker, a design that inverts many of the classic shapes we've come to associate with Corellian design in the Star Wars lore. In this video I'll take you through the foundational design principles I used when making this design, give you an overview, and I'll also discuss the production of the concept art made to present the design. But more than that, it's a story about how fidelity does not necessarily have to be excellent in order to make a successful design. Welcome to Technoboom. My name is Rasmus. I'm an art director and a designer with 20 years of professional games development experience, and I'm on a mission to inspire and empower designers, makers, and creators design the future. And I do that by discussing the craft, all the nooks and crannies of the processes of how the things are made. And if you think that might be of interest to you, stick around. So this journey started up as a discussion among friends regarding Star Wars design, and of course when you discuss Star Wars design, it's natural to start with the Millennium Falcon, a wonderful design by the team, early team at ILM designing for Star Wars. And since this ship is so classic, you know, that is really why it's such a foundational design when discussing these things. But anyway, the conversation landed on doing something that felt Corellian and classic. However, also doing something that felt a bit new. And in relation to that, I want to show you the core of the design thinking here. So the idea was really to take and do something that felt a little bit opposite in a sense. So the Falcon, of course, is, you know, distinct because of its mandibles, its big central disc, and then this off to the side cockpit. And for this ship, I decided to keep the central stalk here in the middle here, but do opposite things with a few of the expected sort of tenets. So keep the central axis, but rather than having a negative space and, let's say, objects on either side of that central axis, I decided to fill the central axis here with this tank here in the middle. So rather than having mandibles, I have the opposite in a sense. I know this is a little bit silly, but sometimes you start with simple ideas like that. And looking at the back, obviously the Falcon has this, you know, the wide slat for its engine exhaust, you know, a classic iconic shape. And I decided to do something opposite. What would that be? Would that be opposite like this, like so vertically oriented? Well, yes and no. I thought that would be a little bit too close, so I decided to do two circular engines and stack them on top of each other so that you get a vertical orientation, but a different sort of shape rather than a slat shape. I have these two sort of jet exhaust, if you will, and a round shape on top of that sort of merges nicely into the cylinder of the tank itself. So again, centrally oriented rather than flat. However, I think the flatness of the designs are important because as the ship twists in space, you know, having something that has width to it usually works really, really well. And so with that in mind, I knew I wanted to fill out the native shape here and have a vertically oriented engine layout, but I knew I needed something in the center as well. And rather than just do a disc, which I suppose one could have done, or something like that, I figured, why not make it angular rather than round? Again, a really, really, let's say, a low fidelity decision to differentiate it from the Falcon, while giving it that width that'll look good as it flips around. And in that sense, the thing that really is maintained is this central axis, right? This one, right here. That's really what's maintained, and then the off to the side cockpit. The rest of it is quite different. What is also shared is the tech sandwich, sort of the Corellian classic design, where I have some sandwiching happening around the edges here. And of course the Falcon has it all around like this. And so that's really the key. There are a few overlaps. You know, the Falcon has its engine exhausts, and then it has these, what do you call it, auxiliary pits for tech and welding and gobbledygooks and whatnot, and I have a few of those as well. And then I have a radar disc, such as the Falcon has here as well. And that's really it. So really, really, really stupid simple differentiation ideas that then in turn became clarity for me as I designed, and became sort of the ideas that held everything together. So if we jump into Blender, here we are, and this is my first Blender model. So this is really old by now, and I must apologize. I mean, look at this. It's so ugh. The modeling is ugh, and the texturing is ugh. It's just it's not, you know, something that I'm excited to look at right now. However, I stand by the design, and that goes to show that modeling is not design, and detail and fidelity is not the same as choices. So to talk about the choices here, of course, you can see what I talk about with the central, spine there, and I see this now that I've done a lot of ships since then. You know, I do this cross section quite a bit. You know, where there's a spine along the length of the ship, and then a spine across. I do that quite a bit, and then I sort of just populate that shape differently. But this one was the first one, first spaceship design I've done in a long time, and my first Blender model after coming out of Max. You know, after maybe a 10-15 year break where I haven't touched 3D at all. So this is, you know, early steps. Some more details to note is, I feel like Star Wars is quite, you know, known for its asymmetry, and so I thought it was important to have some asymmetry in there. I have this I don't really know if it's a weapon or a gun or something here, and this heat shield here covering up something that looked like maybe a moped exhaust, and on the other side some other type of coolant intake or something. But I knew I wanted to have, you know, shapes that differentiate the left and the right side to give it that chaotic feeling, and to give it that, actually the motorcycle reference isn't such a bad idea, you know, with where they look different on either side. I really like this heat shield here. I think that looks really cool. Can't really see it for the lighting, but it's got these you know, it's got this classic sort of brutal shape that feels both at home on motocross motorcycles, or maybe armor or something like that. So it has that utilitarian flavor that I think especially the Star Wars shape language is so well known for, at least the old trilogy stuff. And here you can see the text sandwich on either side, and into this sort of hood or cowl for the tank. It's like the tank is down here below. I assume it's sunk into a negative shape that's contained within this housing, and that you can exchange flasks just like your soda stream machine or your fire extinguisher holder at work or something like that. Here, more text sandwich business, and here you can see what I'm talking about with the vertical layout of the engines. And again, some cowls and some stupid simple tubing in and out of the engine blocks. And then on the other side of the cockpit, I'll get back to the cockpit in a second, but I just want to show you this first. On the other side of the cockpit, we have this gun mount, and I imagine that our crew would run across the central hallway, maybe past a central, what do you say, kitchenette, control station, things like that in here, and then over to the other side where you would have this cannon station over here, similar to what you remember from A New Hope, where you can then go up and down and man these two weapon platforms here. And of course this to give it some counterweight to the cockpit. And in terms of logic, you know, they have, I mean, this gun can't shoot, you know, reverse. This one can't either. There are some blind angles. But I just want to say to all the people out there that think that zero blind angles is everything and all things, it is not. I mean, every single weapon on an airplane would have its blind angles. You know, jet fighters can shoot straight, but nothing else. So I don't think you should focus so much on that. I know it makes you feel smart, that you can understand that a weapon should have, you know, as wide a range as possible, which is certainly true. But it doesn't necessarily give it character. It doesn't necessarily, it's not really realistic either. And the original Falcon doesn't have that. So chill, yeah? All right. And so opposite, of course, the cannon, we have the cockpit. And I intend this cockpit, first of all, let me just show you. Wow, look, it's modeling. There's modeling happening inside here. Wow. Yeah, the intent I had with this was some sort of a vertical layout. Maybe you can sit on top and have a gunner down here, or a spotter or something. You can see there's windows in the bottom as well. So have a layout that feels at once familiar, of course, because of the way the glass is designed, but also surprising. I never quite got to the point of actually modeling the interior because it is insanely time consuming. But now that I have this wonderful cockpit pack here, maybe I should give it a go. And actually, talking about that, I've been working a bit on updating it, but it's been one of those projects that been laying in a folder for years, and I haven't quite gotten back to it. So maybe there's a good excuse now. If you guys like to see this and you're curious to see more, maybe I should dive back in and give it a good overhaul. Yeah, so some of the details are these holes here in the surface with different sort of custom heat vents and stuff like that. Here we have like a little, almost like a B-29 or American Second World War engine scoop. Look at the modeling, it is so bad. But I think it's pretty fun to add like little details like that to the design. And over here we have the radar dish. Again, you can imagine if you're inside a hollowed hallway here, a tube shape, you could imagine access ports here, similar to what we see Lando use in Empire as he picks up Luke, right? You have an access hatch, and then in there maybe a tiny techie hallway where you can do some maintenance or whatnot. And then the radar station having pipes over to the auxiliary bay over here. And I feel like that gives it that classic Star Wars look where things have been tampered with, things have been modified under, not perfect conditions, and so on and so forth. So overall, a really, really simple model, let's say, that lacks modeling skills, but at the same time, I feel great about the design. So even if you feel like you lack modeling skills, it doesn't matter. It's not that important. What's important is that you work on your ideas, you stay true to what you feel would work, and you pursue that against the odds, if you will. Maybe you'll find that years later, when you look back, that you will feel ridiculous for having tried, but at the same time, of course, this is the foundation for the work I've been doing for the past few years in my spare time. And the foundation for my skill set as it has evolved and everything. So don't be afraid to start small. It might end up being some of your favorite work, and maybe you have some people that are familiar with your work. And I've been told many times that some of the people that are familiar with my work, they still love this one. They really like this model. Oh, before I forget, another thing, you might remember that the original Falcon has its cockpit a little bit above the tech sandwich center, and if you can see this here as well in this one, but the cockpit is a little up, and then as the shape comes down, almost like an X-wing, it has sort of a belly. And I do that for many of my ships as well, probably informed by some of these early designs from my childhood, where it feels like the ship has an attitude. It's like it's sitting. There's something about it not being, it's not all straight lines and everything being centered. So the sort of this cowl here is angled upwards a little bit. You can see that on the blue line there. It has sort of an upwards angle up to the intake into the engines. And then the bottom has this flavor that feels a little bit more freighter heavy, Firefly-esque heaviness to it. That as the ship flies and maneuvers, it has sort of an interesting character in how it's composed. How it composes its body, if you will. Easy to see over here where the cowl goes up like that, and the tech sandwich comes in like that. So these little details and the flow of the lines are quite important, and that's what really makes it makes it work. You can see this cowl here as well is sort of angled backwards. You'll see that on old jets and things like that. So there's sort of a sensation that everything has been manipulated and modified to fit a certain need, and the byproduct of that, or rather the primary product of that, is an experience when watching the design. That's really what it's all about. The experience. And again, I've said it before, not very happy with the modeling, but very happy with the experience of the design. So if you want to make your own science fiction scenes and you want to skip ahead a little bit, maybe you're a beginner and you're unsure of where to start, or maybe you're a seasoned pro and you want to speed up your workflow, the Big Medium Small Model Shop Greebles Asset Pack is a great start. It's a pack I made in collaboration with the team, and the intent of that is really to make a pack that feels like Lego, but for spaceship nerds, right? And that pack contains 600 plus items, lots of characters, and lots of little tiny bits so you can remix and build your own stuff. It also has a bunch of poses for these characters, and it has a bunch of hero ships as well that are pre-made for you, so that you can get started quickly. So again, as mentioned, whether you're curious or whether you're a pro that want to speed things up, check it out, link in the description. And so if we look at some of the concept art done with this ship in mind, obviously there's this one, the cover piece, which is how I would traditionally do concept art, or give a more lived-in sense to the design piece. So the ship design itself, okay, fine and dandy, but it's always nice to experience it situated in a space and an environment. So this particular scene is a classic, I think, Star Wars scene, like a small astroport somewhere at the edge of anything interesting. Because after all, I think that Episode 4 or A New Hope really had that in spades. It made you feel like you were dreaming of a bigger world rather than being in the center of it. So rather than Coruscant flavors, I think that the smaller towns feel really cool for an environment like this. So I decided to place it in some sort of a scoundrelly desert space. And to talk about the process for this for a little bit, I really started with a simple sketch, placing it in the space and composing some mountains around that, and a few ships and a few background buildings, and quickly moved on to photobashing some characters. And pretty quickly I found out that I wanted a foreground that felt busy and that felt like that foreground was observing the ship and its crew at the same time as you feel like you might be one of those crew members. So there's sort of like this double line of experiencing the picture. You experience it from the frame of the crew, because you feel like you might be a hero landing and doing some business, and at the same time you feel part of the skeptical crowd observing these strangers land. So that dualism there I really liked. At the same time, you can see in the background I'm blocking out some stupid simple shapes, just to wonder how is this space populated exactly, and what's going on there. And then I start refining. I guess the first sketch was a little bit of a mix. Start refining and start adding clouds and layers and guardrays and whatnot. And then I photobash some characters together and stitch some old mask designs I had laying around onto them, and place them in and around the space to get this busy, slummy port feeling. Cables, wires, people, different things in the background, and just refinements and just trying different composition flavors and whatnot. And then some more foreground. I'm actually keeping it quite loose because I'm not particularly interested in having it feel perfect or having the detail feel perfect. I don't mind it's rough. I don't mind that it feels a little sketchy, because I think the downside with 3D is that it becomes so perfect that I don't feel particularly engaged when I view the art quite a bit. But you can see some cloud work here and some more background stuff, and moving the ships around in the background to get that sense of composition that I feel feels happenstance and a little bit chaotic. And then we have some Tatooine style buildings with domes, some North African architecture, as well as some Jabba-esque Macquarie domes, if you will, in the background there. And of course, keeping a very blue, hazy atmosphere that goes really well against the warmth of the sand and the warmth of the sky, so that you have this nice color composition of two complementary colors really dominating the scene. And then a bit of modification to, contrast and whatnot, a bit of post. And then I come back to it the day after, and there's a few things I don't like, and so I fix them. So I add, you can see here, the front of the ship in particular, add some details to that, and back again, the cockpit and the inside look a little bland, there's no reflection in the glass, and it feels a little undercooked. And so I just give it a quick spin, and that's it. Foreground, middle ground, background. Pretty simple. As I mentioned, I feel like you're both viewing the ship as part of the crew living here, and I feel like you might be that helmeted blue dude, or the lady underneath the cockpit, sort of viewing that scene. So that dualism of storytelling of who you might be in this particular scene. I really like that. I really like that junky tower on the left. I think it's so cool. Sort of electric generator box with a yellow stripe and some antenna. And again, I think that goes to show that, being inspired by simple things in your surroundings. Maybe you drive past one of those on your bike sometimes and you go, inspiration can come from anywhere, and that's certainly the case here. And beyond that, here's a few more renders. So yeah, my first Blender design. Wow, takes me back. And I hope my point gets across that skill sets are many things. It's not just about finessing a 3D model to perfection, even though it's that, certainly. And that expertise is needed in the craft. But what I want you to take away from this is really that design is decision making. Design is choices. Saying yes and saying no to certain ideas, and sticking to them. Sticking to them while you refine. And of course, nothing wrong with diverging and making plan A, B, and C and whatnot. But this design I just described to you is, it was very clear from the get-go, and I was strict in my adhering to the rules that I had set up. And I think, having people tell me that it's their favorite design of mine is really cool, because it is such a shoddy model. And that tells me that design is not finishing. And with that in mind, I think regardless of your level, you can get into it, get some ideas, and try it out. Yeah. If you want to see more stuff, there's a video of one of the bigger sister ships I designed to the Millennium Falcon here. And either way, I'll just see you around.